This is Andy.
Excitement's building.
This is Thursday.
I'm nervous. Breathe with me, guys.
And this is Andy on Thursday. That's right, we gave Andy his own show.
No way. No way.
Yes way, Andy.
Holy sheet.
Holy sheet indeed. Andy Given Thursday. Live every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on the Comic Core.
Holy sheet is right. It's Thursday. Andy Given Thursdays. I'm ComicManAndy, and I'll be your host tonight. Thanks for joining us. We got a really cool topic. I'm going to rapid fire bring everybody on tonight because I know a couple of guests are short on time. We're going to talk publishers tonight, right? So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, or the unlike button. Hit a button. Hit lots of buttons. And remember to hit the notification bell too. And thanks for joining us. So let's rapid fire this really quick. We got Aznfunk Comics in the house tonight.
Hey, what's going on? No, thanks for having me.
We've got the Immortal Biggieshaq in the house. Ready to bang and clang.
What's up, ladies and germs, dude? I'm here to grind with the grit and grind, brother.
Hell yeah. All right. We got Bearded Comic Book Bro in the house.
What's going on?
Thanks for joining us.
Let's absolutely.
Love it, man. Everybody, thanks for your time. And Bruce and Stephanie. Yeah, I invited you guys because I lost last night. So
oh yeah.
Or what,
but you worked in like an epic way. So
You did.
I did a terrible job. Okay, so off the cuff, this idea came to a couple of us, and a couple of people have thrown this idea around. Really want to talk publishers, and talking about publishers, the idea, behind this show is to just get a great group of people together because everybody's got differing opinions and differing experiences, and that's kind of the spice of life, right? I mean, if I sat here and talked about what I like every Thursday, nobody would like it, right? So I want to talk publishers and go right around the horn, and right off the bat to get started, I'm really interested in hearing what kind of experiences and ideas people had from when they first started collecting, whether it be when you were a kid or 2 years ago or 10 years ago. Right off the bat, the first question and we'll lead off with Aznfunk. When you first started collecting comic books, what publishers did you find yourself being drawn to?
Well, before I answer that, I just want to say I think it's a little unfair that I'm the only one who doesn't have a beard in this.
Hey, I don't have a beard.
Well, okay, sorry. I'm the only guy without a beard here, so I feel a little.
Bruce is your beard, Stephanie.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think when I got into comics, obviously Marvel. I'm a Marvel guy, so that's definitely my first introduction to comics in terms of like a publisher. Didn't really know what DC was. I just, I only knew about like Batman and Superman. I didn't think they were owned by a company, but like with Marvel, I knew that they owned a bunch of characters. So that's how I got into understanding like what publisher made what. But yeah, I think now I'm still into Marvel. It's like, my collection is like 80% Marvel, like 10% DC, and then another 10% other. But that other has like, it's actually, you guys heard of Boom Studios?
Mm-hmm.
That is like my favorite publisher right now. It's like, they got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They got RoboCop. They have Big Trouble in Little China. I think they have one more, but like, yeah, they are hitting all the right, like 80s nostalgia type brands that I'm really like into right now. And yeah, like no other publishers do anything. Oh, and WWE and F, like they've got those wrestling variants, and they all look amazing. So yeah, I've definitely branched a little more into like indie type publishers. I don't know if Boom's indie necessarily anymore.
Yeah. Still.
Are they? Yeah. So
I mean, if Image is being considered indie still.
Oh, no way. Image is, I feel like Image is like it's Marvel, DC, Image. I feel Image is like they've got Walking Dead, they've got like Saga. They're definitely like a top tier publisher. So yeah. I don't know, did I answer the question? I can't remember.
Before we move on, I neglected the chat, so I'm going to hit up the chat really quick because we had some tailgaters in here tonight, which was awesome. And I got to go scrolling way back. For Captain Comics was the first in the house, and he beat out Chris Barrett. Where's Chris Barrett tonight? You can't have a show without Chris Barrett. Ricky Marstadt, thanks for hanging out. Backseat Driver, great to see you, man. Rhino's Comic Report, thanks for hanging out. That's my good buddy Ryan. We like to do unboxings together occasionally. John's Comics with Kid. Comic Books NYC, thanks for hanging out. We had a lot of people that were tailgating in here and hanging out, and we really appreciate that. There's Biggie in here. Scott Evans, thanks for hanging out. Old Wolf's hanging out tonight. Thanks, man. And I'm kind of rushing myself because I don't want to cut your time short, Asian Funk, because I know you're a little limited. But hey, Sim Chu, thanks for hanging out. It's a new name. Good to see you. Let's not forget that Comic Core and the Comic Core shows are powered by the Hero Initiative. So any super chats or any donations made tonight or any other night go directly to the Hero Initiative, and we'll have more on that later. But yeah, thanks for everybody for joining us. And I forgot to mention something extremely important tonight. Somebody here tonight on the panel, I'll let you guys guess who, is haunted by an owl.
One of us.
Think about it. Let you guys sit on that.
So you can go, who?
Oh, there it is.
The dad joke.
That was a terrible dad joke.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
I thought that's where you were going with it. I'm like, no, even Andy has better classy dad jokes than that. And I forgot who I was talking with. So
I'm running short on the dad jokes. I'm gonna have to go into the
I find a really good one.
database.
Like I said, it's Andy and I forgot.
I'll have to go back into the dad base for some more jokes.
Yeah, oh, God.
So, moving forward, continuing around the horn, Biggie, man, when did you start collecting and what kind of? I know you've got a very diverse the way about when you buy comic books. I see you buying a lot of different stuff. So when you first started getting into comic book collectors, is there a publisher that you really honed in on?
Yeah, man. My girlfriend, she really liked Walking Dead, so I got a bunch of Image. You know what I mean? Like Nailbiter, Snot Girl. I Hate Fairyland. I would get the variant, dude. I'm not gonna say the word they used, brother, but just some cool indies, and I always would get the Marvel. If Batman was doing good, I'd pick Batman up. If Spider-Man was doing something cool, I'd pick that up. You kind of gotta see if the buzz is out on certain issues before you buy them. And the thing I really liked through the years was reprints. I like the dollar books. I like the Image Firsts. I like the True Believers, the facsimiles. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to talk about old books, but I'm kind of getting off the new book kick. I haven't really got one. Last new comic book day, I didn't have any DC come in my pool. It's been about a month, and I don't know if I quite miss them. I miss my Venom, but yeah, I think that's pretty much a good answer. Spawn, I miss that.
Okay, good to hear, man. I mean, it sounds like you really round yourself out as a Marvel guy, right?
Yeah,
Spawn.
I think so. Deadpool, and Venom are definitely two of my favorite.
But one thing I do know is you don't pass up a good DC buy when you find it in a bin from your channel, man. When you find something,
I like old books, man. I'm a big old book advocate.
I don't blame you there, man. And moving on, same question to you, Bearded Comic Book Bro. When you whenever you started collecting, was there a publisher that drew you in that you stuck with?
yeah, now I know why I got invited on this channel, because someone's got to show some love apparently to DC. So I collected comics all the time as a kid. So I was right in the grit of 93, 94 when the Nightfall series was coming out with Batman, with Bane. And that was just my jam. And that was everything. That's what got me in. And so I got out of collecting a while, probably in college, and I just got back in about a year and a half ago. So I went back to what got me into it as a kid, which was, anything Batman. And so getting into the DC world. Now, with that being said, DC makes up probably about 50% of my new comic book days, and then about 25% Marvel, 25% indie. So it now I start to get diversified a little bit more with new comic books. And a little different from Biggie there is I like collecting the old books too, but right now I'm just so into getting anything new. And anything I can read and get my hands on. So my new comic book day is insane. So only getting one book yesterday was a little weird, but it was a new book. So like what Ricky said, everything is Batman.
Nice. I missed that comment. I'm terrible with the chat, but no, I hear you, man. I went through a really big phase where I was all new comic books all the time. The last couple of months have changed that drastically. Right. Moving forward, I'm really interested to hear what Bruce and Stephanie have to say, because they're kind of the wild card here tonight. Because I haven't, unfortunately, I haven't watched all of your content, but I've watched enough to know and learn about you guys. I just don't know kind of like your origins in collecting, and if you guys really had a publisher that you were drawn to at the beginning.
Sure. I didn't start collecting until I was like early 20s. I had transferred colleges, and when I went to the new college, I lived off campus, and making friends was difficult at the time because you're off campus. I'm working full time. I'm going to school. So it's like when you're living on campus, you're forced to make friends. You're like, you're dorming with people. You're in the same thing. So it's easy to make friends. When I moved away, I had this huge hole of time to fill. And one of the bartenders I was working with, it was like, hey, I'm going to the comic shop. Do you want to go? I was like, comic shop? Why the fuck do I want to go? Oh, sorry. Why do I want to go to the comic shop? And he was just like, I went in, and then Michael Turner was drawing Batman Superman at the time. And that was like the first thing I walked into. And I was like, wait, what is this? And I just got sucked in. And I am mainly a DC guy. Same thing with Beard, like Batman. Bruce. Come on, Bruce Wayne. No, Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner. No, Bruce Banner's not at school. Like Bruce Banner's like Crazy Hulk, but Batman's got the gadgets, and I love Batman. But over time, I've grown to more look for the stories. I really look for really good stories by really good writers with depth, with emotion, things that you can like gravitate towards, and there's feelings behind it. And it's not just punching and kicking, which is still fun, but that's why I like the Tom King Batman, because there was like so much more to it than just like, Batman fighting Bane, getting his back broke, getting it fixed, going out and beat him up. There was like, connection and love, and there was a lot of stuff to it. And like it's the same thing with like Mr. Miracle and Vision. There was so much emotion there, and like development of the characters. And again, it's like Something is Killing the Children, Little Bird, like these stories with like big scope and big picture is what I'm currently drawn to, but still DC, Batman, all day, every day.
Nice. I'll make mine short and quick, going around the horn. I grew up finding Marvel on the spinner rack, finding the Punisher. That's what I collected as a kid. I didn't even know DC existed for the first 15 years that I was buying comic books. I didn't know that was a thing until I got a part-time job and my own little money and my own little pull list at a comic book shop. So, and even then, around that time, Image was case in point. Image was, 92, 93, 94? Right in those early 90s or mid-90s, and Image was coming out, and that, like, cover by. Oh, man, the story was terrible, but I love the covers. And then Michael Turner, Top Cow, Fathom, a lot of those, Witchblade, Darkness, a lot of those kind of drew me over there. I digress. And that's kind of where I began. I was a Marvel at heart when I first started collecting. And I'll end it there and roll right kind of into the second question, because Asian Funk, you really kind of were moving towards the second question that I had that was really curious about knowing a little bit more about others' origins in their collections and their habits. And where do you find yourself now after going through the years that you have collecting? Have your preferences changed drastically, or have they not changed at all?
Yeah, I think it didn't. I don't think it's changed. I think it's just like expanded. So like before, I didn't go to like comic book stores. My first exposure to comics was like at a grocery store in the magazine section, and so all they sold were Marvel and DC stuff. And so like I didn't go to a comic book shop until like I was like a teenager, and then realized like, oh, there's actually way more than just Marvel and DC. So I think. I mean, I still collect Marvel DC, but I think I collect more variety now. I have maybe a handful of like Dynamite and Dark Horse. But yeah, I think I follow like, news and stuff about publishers. Like I'm still a little bitter that Image left the Bay Area to move to Portland. So I'm kind of like, I'm not going to support you guys anymore. And like, I don't know if you guys heard that story about how like Bruce Campbell doesn't sign any books from Dynamite because he doesn't get royalties every time they use his face on covers.
Really?
So yeah, so he won't sign any book that Dynamite makes. And so I'm like, oh, that's pretty shady. Like, like, I'm sure every publisher has some kind of underlining thing that they do. So like, I'm like, I'm not really big on Dynamite now because of that. But if the story is good or if I like the artist, I don't care who the publisher is, I'll buy it. But like I said, Boom Studios is like kind of like my go-to now for just like either movie-based books, picking up from like with Big Trouble in Little China, they're doing this thing where they're following like Jack Burton when he's older. He's like an old man in like San Francisco. It's like a post-apocalyptic thing. And it's like, that's pretty awesome. That's something they never do in the movies, but like, Boom Studios is doing this and they have John Carpenter, who's the director of the movie. He's writing these books. So like, that's something that I don't think like any other publisher is doing right now. So I'm really like team Boom. But yeah, I think my tastes have only just expanded.
Can you elaborate a little more on that move that Image did? I was not aware that they moved.
Oh, they just moved headquarters.
Heard that.
Oh yeah, so Image, their headquarters used to be here in Berkeley, in California. They were here for a long time, and then I can't remember what the reason was. But they up and left, I think like 4 or 5 years ago, and they moved to Portland. And like I think Portland's like the mecca of comics on the West Coast. And so, yeah, there was really no reason except like rent was too high, something silly.
It's probably something tax related or something
exactly.
Related in those finer things that we're not attuned to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was just like, like it always makes me sad whenever we lose like, a publisher, a big company that's kind of like locally grown and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I have tons of Image comics. I'm a fan of Todd, so it's not like I don't hate him. I'm just a little salty.
I get that, man. I'd be a little salty too if my home team kind of up and left. I totally get that. I sympathize with that as well.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of tough and kind of heartbreaking. Eventually, things might get mended, but they'll never be the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Biggieshaq, same question, man. I mean, over the years that you've been collecting, how, if at all, have your preferences really changed, man? Do you find yourself gearing and looking towards a different route, or do you find yourself returning back to the old school days?
Yeah, man. I kind of went through a good phase of about 2.5 years of really like soaking in the culture and buying new stuff. And, I wasn't the biggest spender on New Comic Book Day, but I averaged about $40 to $60 every week, for a good while. And I kind of like capsulated that little collection of newer books, and I enjoy them. But to me, I don't feel like I feel like a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, these indies are amazing. And that's primarily what I got was a bunch of indies, some Marvel, some DC. I got the cool stuff from the last few years. But I feel like a lot of people that come in are like, all these stories they were great 3 years ago too, to me. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like I'm a little bit over it. Like some of them that come out, they're okay. And I'm like, dang, I missed it. But I really have to have it on my pool to buy it because there's no extra books in my local comic shop. So if anything, my collecting experience has narrowed because I said about 6 months ago, I was going to stop buying so many new comic books because I wanted to focus on keys and books that were worth like value to me. So I only get like $20 worth now, and I get a lot more older books, and I feel like I want to focus more on like silver to gold if I can. That's where I'm going.
I get that, man. It sounds like your shop is doing an amazing job being fiscal, if you will. Like they're ordering what they need for their pull customers, but they're not mega ordering, so they're taking care of their customers. It sounds like a very respectable shop that takes care of their clientele.
It's not bad. Yeah, you know, they come through if they can. I've gotten some cool new books from them, so I enjoy them.
Nice, that's good to hear. And I always really enjoy your videos where you dig for silver and bronze and gold stuff, and you're digging for some of those older DC books. So it's great to hear your take on where you're kind of at with some of those newer books, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
I really do. And same question to you, Bearded Comic Bro. We'll finish going around the horn here one more time and hit up that chat, and we'll talk about the Hero Initiative a little bit. But, bro, man, I'm really interested in this. Is the same question to you. I'm really interested to see over the years because it sounds like you're very similar to me as far as time span. Yeah. But it sounds like you're an opposite when it comes to preferences.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was, like I said earlier, when I was a kid, I just picked up Batman books when I could. Man, there was a half-price bookstore right by a movie theater, and my mom would bribe me of, "Hey, I'll buy you a comic if you don't tell your dad that we are going to see an R-rated movie." So when I was like 8 or 10, I was just racking in the comic. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care." And so I got into that. So when I got back into collecting about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, it literally, I went back to my nostalgic roots. So I went back, I was drawn towards what got me into my love of comics or anything anyway. So if it was anything Batman related, I was drawn in towards it. So I hopped in right around like Batman 55 or something. So on that Tom King run. So I went back and collected everything from that run, and then everything from Scott Snyder's run. And then I was going back all the volume. And so once I kind of started to get that, my nostalgia covered, I started to dig into being invested in the community a little bit more, and watching YouTube videos and finding out what people were pulling and realizing that there is a world outside of DC. Right. And it's not to say like I had Marvel books. I've seen all the Marvel movies. I'm not Perry. Like I've been a fan of everything. But I started to get more into stuff that I wasn't familiar with, like books from companies like Ahoy or Source Point Press, and some of the small, like even smaller indie publishers than what you would say with even Image or Boom, and just hearing some people like telling stories and I've been really drawing into a lot of the series that are like those 5 or 6 minis. So like, cause I feel like the writers can get in, tell their story and get out, and I can invest my time. So I'm not as worried about spending money on new comic books, because I'm like, okay, hey, I can invest $30 in here and get a story. And if I like it, great. If not, I still got to read a comic. So there's a benefit there.
Nice. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's expanded from DC, like I said earlier, like it's 50, 20, 25. But if it's something that entices me, I'll be into it and I'll try it out. So if someone's like, "Have you read this?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Do it." I'm like, "Okay." So if you guys had something, I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." And so I'm trying to just diversify as much as I can and just soak in as much as I can. I mean, I hear a lot of the, people YouTube, and they're like, I stopped getting new comic books. And during quarantine, I had to stop. So I was just getting all Silver Age Batman books or picking up obscure first appearances like Mystery Men's first appearance in Flaming Carrots. Like, who cares about that? But I did. Like, or the Rocketeers' first appearance. So some of those things like that, I started to get into weird 90 movies. Again, tapping into my nostalgia from watching comic book movies as a kid of The Phantom or Dick Tracy or Shadow, and trying to get some of those key books and things like that. So I'm just a hodgepodge of just give me comics. That's all I want. Give me the books. I'll read them. Even if they're bad, it's comics.
Dude, yeah, you make some very solid points, man. Yeah, I got to stew on those because those are great. I mean, moving forward, Bruce, wake up.
I'm here.
Sorry, man. Sorry, it's been a long day for me too. Sorry, I digress for a moment. Really, man, it's same question to you guys too. You and Stephanie, because I know Stephanie's just as much of a collector as you are when it comes to comic books and a reader.
She has better taste too. JK, Bruce, you're my Batman guy. I can't diss you.
Oh, that was perfect timing. I want to know where you guys are at after your experiences where you started, because everybody knows that you get that first rush, that first mega rush of buy. And then when you really start to know what you love, and then you really start to collect what you love, where did you guys fall?
I'll go first, and then you'll go. So what I've noticed since I started collecting in my early 20s, and I'm now almost 40, is that DC and Marvel tell two totally different kinds of stories. DC is this like big, cosmic, crazy, even Batman's fighting like these crazy cosmic gods, and they're always telling these big, huge stories. They're never like diving into the character and doing like character introspectives and seeing like what makes them tick and like putting them through big character emotional points. But then when you go over to Marvel, they do a lot more of those stories. Like Daredevil's always dealing with like inner demons and things like that. Wolverine's the same thing. Like leading up to he died, he was dealing with a lot of like crazy emotional things. I remember this story where he was captured and put down in a pit, and every single day a guy with a giant like Gatling gun would shoot all of his skin off, and then he'd slowly regrow it. And then it talked about him like going through the emotional toll of like finding a way to escape. And Marvel just does a much better job of keeping things grounded, and I'm gravitating more and more to those stories than I am the cosmic craziness. Like even the Guardians of the Galaxy, you're dealing with, Star-Lord dating Kitty Pryde for a while, and there was like relationship drama, and I was drawn towards that. There was, Groot and Rocket's friendship, which is always being tested because they're getting separated and they just want to be back together. There's just lots of character moments in those books, which I'm hugely drawn to, which I've more and more of my collection still is going more towards Marvel in that sense. And I'm cutting down a lot of my other books. Like I think I was collecting Flash for a while. The Flash sucks. Like everyone says, Joshua Williamson's Flash run is epic. It's garbage. It's so bad. They're just telling bad stories, and DC has a lot of bad writers over there right now, and they're teaming them up with bad artists, and it's a hodgepodge. But hopefully, moving forward with Dan DiDio out, we're going to see some change. We already are with Dark Knight's Metal being extended, whatever it's called, from 6 to 7. They're also getting multiple more tie-ins because Scott Snyder wants to do a bigger story. There's that, but then there's also, I'm finding now that Stephanie is in the picture, and she's influencing more of my purchases because she wants to read more indies, and she's really into those. So I'm buying so many more indies, and these stories are so great. And these stories are just not these heroes fighting for stupid things, like fighting the same villain for the 500th time. It's like, Undiscovered Country is like amazing. It's crazy. It's this sci-fi insanity. Something is killing the children. It's this amazing horror story with this crazy character named Erica Slaughter. There's Little Bird. If you guys haven't read Little Bird, there's this little book called Little Bird.
Have you guys ever heard us talk about it?
We actually
Have you guys ever been on an episode ever online where you don't mention Little Bird?
Oh,
I'm just pretty sure there was a question about that.
There's a
the bird,
game-
like,
there's a
small?
YouTube drinking game.
Small
You have
Little?
Little Bird, you have to take a shot.
I like it. That would be really fun.
The show would be over in 20 minutes because everyone would be passed out.
Well, Darcy actually sent us his video today that we're going to play next week, and there's some new information that I don't know.
Exciting news about
I don't know if that's out there in the public that we're going to be able to like drop, which it probably is, but we didn't hear about it, and we're up on the news, so that was really exciting. There's just I don't know, indie books. If you can find the right ones, they're so good. Like, Andy, come on, Saga, come on. That family story is so good. Ascender, Jeff Lemire, like there's so many good stuff, and you don't need heroes to do it. Like you can tell these crazy, awesome stories without them, but they're still heroes. There's a different style of hero.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Saga, Andy?
Stephanie, same question to you because I like what Bruce had to say is how you're starting to influence some of his reading. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, actually, I didn't start collecting as long as you guys have been collecting. I didn't ever read a comic book until I met Bruce. So he actually gave me my first comic book, which was the Spider-Woman series.
Oh,
where
so good.
That was really great. And I read that and I was like, okay, I'd be willing to give these a try. And then he tried to give me a bunch of like Marvel and DC. And I was like, I came in after like, you guys got to all read comic books before they started shoving comic book movies down your throat. And I had seen so many comic book movies at that point that I was like, I don't want to read what Batman or Superman is doing right now. I don't care. Like I've seen so many Marvel movies and I can't watch or hear about it anymore. So then he introduced me. I think Little Bird was the first book that I heard him talk about so much. And I'm like, all right, let me read that. And then I read Little Bird. This I could read. Anything that doesn't have to do with superheroes, I'm all about. So then I just started, like, we would go through the comic book list on New Comic Book Day. And I'm like, I want this, this, and this. And I would just grab only indies. So I've mostly read only indies. Well, I read Deceased, which I really liked. And I tried to read. So I mean, Bruce was really into the House of X and Powers of X books. I tried to power through that. I did not enjoy those.
What? Wow.
I did not. I didn't even finish them. I was like, I don't even care what happens.
Well, I mean, a fresh set of eyes is a fresh perspective, and a fresh perspective sometimes brings a lot of variety and debate, which can be fun sometimes. That's pretty interesting to hear.
Well, you know what I think it is, and I think that so many people like Powers of X and House of X is because you have some kind of background in it. Mm-hmm. I had no idea who any of the characters were. They were all over the place. It was hard to follow, and I couldn't get into it. It was
Hickman did a terrible job of making it new reader friendly.
Right.
Interesting.
Like if you didn't have the backstory of all those characters, you were lost.
Right.
Like, dude, I would love to debate that topic with you on another show because I am woefully terrible on my X-Men history, and I loved the Hickman run. I really did.
Wow.
That would be for another show. I'm sorry. Did you have more, Stephanie?
No, I mean, if I had to pick two, it'd be indie books and DC is really. I really liked. They did a Black Label book called Harleen that like
great book.
Josevich or however you pronounce his name wrote, and I really was into that. I tried to read more Harley Quinn stuff, but
some of it was garbage.
Some of it was garbage, but. Deceased, and I didn't even really like Unkillables, but for the same reason, because I felt like I couldn't follow it because I didn't know a lot of the characters. So I do feel like that's why indie books are better for new readers because they're introducing a new character you've never read before. So they have to tell you who they are. They have to give you a background. They have to make it a way that you're invested in these characters within one run. And that's like a lot of the DC books and Marvel books, they expect you to kind of have an idea of who these characters are and then explain very little about them. And then I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Mirror Man, like, how was I supposed to think that guy's cool?
Well, the part was so cool. I don't even know.
I'll get to this chat in just a minute, but that's an excellent point.
Did the chat say Little Bird?
Yep.
Little Bird.
Somebody said Little Bird. And I can sympathize with you guys quite a bit. I have changed drastically in my collecting and reading habits where I'm probably 60% indies I got a math here really quick. So
Math is hard.
I'm probably 60% indies, 20% Marvel, and then maybe 20% DC. And the only reason why 20% DC is even garnering 20% out of me as far as pull list stuff is because they've added that Black Label. They've added a lot of those horror titles the last couple of months, and this shutdown kind of slowed that. But I'm really interested to see them continue that and do that. But yeah, do you guys remember? I'm going to date myself here. Back in the 80s and the 90s, that books were primarily the resource when screenwriters and script writers did movies, right? And some of that further content they were pulling from books. And then we saw the age where they were really doing a lot of movies based on major comic book characters. We're seeing a shift and a push where the industry is really looking towards those indie publishers for the original titles and original series for TV shows, for movies, for content. So I am getting goosebumps just thinking about the different indie stories and stuff that have been out the last couple of years and what are going to come out. I'm an indie guy first and foremost now. I've changed drastically. Now, Biggieshaq makes a great point about when it comes to collecting like Golden Age and Silver Age books and stuff where his heart really lies. I'm still that Punisher collector. I'm still buying Bronze Age stuff. I need to buy more Silver Age stuff. I just haven't delved out further into that. But it's when it comes to actually reading and enjoying stories, I'm more indie. But yeah, Biggie, dude, you make a great point about the divide between what you're collecting and what you're enjoying too. I mean, you enjoy your collection and you enjoy what you're reading, but there is kind of a divide there. There is kind of a little bit more. And without going into a whole nother sidetrack here,
yeah.
How are we doing on time, Asian Funk? I mean, I know you talked about being 30 minutes, but you got time for one more question, man, and then we'll get to back next.
Yeah. I'll hang around.
So, I mean, kind of the third question I was going to get at was really after knowing where you started from and seeing where you're at now, what are you most excited about moving forward from here on out? Because where the world sits with our current situation the last couple of months, we seem to be seeing a shift back to something of a normal. Like, hopefully things continue to progress well and hopefully things go well for families and with individuals and everything and businesses, and the impact is lessened. And let's say, in a couple of weeks or a month, we can get right back into those LCSs and we can get back into our habits and back into what we enjoy. What excites you the most going forward from here?
Is that for me or for Biggie?
Yeah, for Asian Funk. I know you were out of time, so I mean, we'll hit you up first.
I will say, if it weren't for, not being able to go out and just buying what I usually buy, like, I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts, and I'm not really a huge podcast person, but that's also like a channel that I never would have considered as like a source of good comic book content. But Marvel released a podcast called Wolverine: The Long Night. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I highly recommend you guys check that out because it is I'm not a huge podcast person, but the idea of not reading a story about Wolverine but hearing it was weird. But it is one of the most original. Did we lose Biggie? It is one of the most original stories I've ever read about Wolverine in a long time. Like, I haven't been that like invested in a story since like Old Man Logan. And so I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you guys ever come across that podcast, go for it. And it's crazy because it was so good that Marvel then made a comic based on that podcast. So it's like a 5-issue limited run.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you really don't want to listen to the podcast, you can read it. It literally just took the writers and they ported it over into comic book form, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so if it weren't for like, having to, try out something different besides going out to my LCS and just buying what I normally buy, I never would have discovered that podcast. And so I thought it was really cool. Like, it was so good that they came out with a season 2 or like the next chapter. So yeah, it was cool to see a publisher like Marvel to try something like that, because I know I haven't heard of any other attempt from other publishers to try a comic book podcast. And I thought it was really successful. So yeah, I mean, as long as the stories are good, I'm more than okay trying out a new, avenue of comic book stories.
Interesting. That's actually something. So if I understood you correctly, they took a new comic book or a new comic book idea and delivered it in a podcast format first, and then delivered the printed copy after. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of groundbreaking. We've all traditionally looked at podcasts as kind of like a reporting tool, something kind of after the fact. So that's actually kind of groundbreaking to deliver something like that ahead of the game and then do the printed media after. And you make a great point, man. Dude, I think podcasting is a very undervalued tool in the comic book industry or comic book collecting community, if you will. Carson Woodard, Seawood 19, and his friend, I believe it's Mark, started Comics of the Atom on all the standard podcasting formats, and they did a run of X-Men that was astonishing. There's all right. That was amazing. And podcasting is a great vehicle for opinions and ideas, but I think it's underutilized when it comes to comic books, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, dude. And really quick, we're already at the 40-minute mark. I do want to hit up the chat really quick, but I know your time's limited. So really quick, we'll close you out. And if you could take about 2, 3, 5 minutes, whatever time you need, let people know where they can find you. Because I want to say, first and foremost, congratulations on breaking 900, because that was recent.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, golf clap.
Thank you. Some bots unsubscribed, so I broke 900, and then I went back to 899. I was like, oh crap! I already announced that I hit 900, and it's like, if anyone goes to my channel right now, they're gonna be like, this lying piece.
Yeah, that was me. I just wanted to mess you up, babe. I was like,
It's like, oh shoot, yeah. So
all of your links are in the description below. So anybody viewing this on the replay or in the live chat right now, be sure to check the description below. Hit up Aznfunk Comics he's got great content. He's got great views and opinions from the West Coast. So let's not forget that sometimes the difference between the East Coast and the West Coast can vary. Like, I had no idea Image moved, man. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm surprised no one really said anything when that happened. I felt like I was the only one that was upset. Everyone's like, who cares, whatever, and I'm like, aren't you mad?
I get it, man. I mean, I get it. I definitely get it. And you're more than welcome to hang out and continue and chime in when you want to chime in. I just wanted to make sure that we went around the horn for the questions with the time that you had available. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this was a blast. Invite me next time. I'll try to block out more time. I'll try to make dinner faster.
I get it, man. Real life's definitely more important than a show. So
I was like, oh man, I'm eating fast. I gotta go eat.
Thanks, man. If you're good, unless you got anything else, I'd like to move on.
No. I just want to say thanks to everyone listening in. Check out everybody in here. I follow all these guys. You guys are awesome, pushing out great content. I enjoy listening to you. I've follow you guys on Instagram. You guys are hilarious, and I'll work on growing out a beard.
We'll buy you a fake one in the mail.
I'll follow you.
Yeah, it was fun, dude. I think it's my first Aznfunk cameo.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
it's cool having you on.
Yeah, it was great, man. I really enjoyed your opinions and your ideas. Thank you very much, man. I'm honored that you said yes right away too.
Oh, I was like, did he mean to invite me? Because I was like, I don't think we've ever actually talked. No, I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, that's the idea behind this show, right? Is I don't need to be your best friend. I don't have to know you extremely well. I mean, let's become friends. Let's talk about let's share this passion that we all love, because differing opinions and variety and debates, it's all the spice of life. None of us have to be right. Let's share it and talk about it. You know what I mean? And that's what I love, because you know, when Bruce and Stephanie talk DC and Bearded Comic Bro. Oh God, here I am with terrible with the names. Bearded Comic Bro talks about DC. Like I said, I've never really been a mega DC fan, but people are really starting to win me over with some of that stuff, and it just opens up my mind and expands my experiences. So I digress. I can ramble on all night to you guys, and I could talk until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But moving on, man. Hey, Asian Funk, man, thanks again. I greatly appreciate it. It was a blast, dude.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great night and enjoy that West Coast weather, man.
I will. All right. See you guys.
See ya. Because Michigan is not getting that weather, let me tell you what. It rained for 3 or 4 days straight. All right.
Bro, it's still rain. I mean, we're in I'm Ohio, so Midwest. It's still raining here. So I'm right there with you.
I could probably move to Seattle and still have a decent time there. Dude, I mean, same question to you, Bearded Comic Bro. Yeah, I'm rushing myself again.
Repeat the question. It's been so long.
Well, the question is now is after we've kind of talked about where you've started and where you've ended up, where do you find yourself? What excites you most moving forward from here on out? After this shutdown, after everything's going on, if things keep on the up and up and the world and the community and everything, the world keeps spinning and everything goes well, what excites you the most moving forward from here on out?
Comics. I mean, it sounds dumb, but like I'm just excited, and I feel like because as I watch videos and stuff, I'm like, I feel like I'm the naive renew collector who's like, give me all the new comics, and like that's what I love. I mean, there's just so, and I'm starting to drift into a lot more indie, and there's so many just people that are putting out great stories. And I'm excited for those. I'm excited for the possibilities that they open up. I love what I've loved about this quarantine. If you can find anything that you like about it, is it's opened me up to exploring, like doing stuff, shopping online, which I never did. I was like, I'll never do that. And then I was like, well, I need new comics, so I have to. And I was like, oh, I'll make a video once a month. And so like just quarantine is then forced. I'm like, I have no life. Okay, I'll make more videos. So like the idea of just getting deeper into the comic community. Because what's so great about it is like what you said, Andy, is everyone has their diverse opinions. Like, and you can have your Marvel DC debates, you can have your indie debate, everyone that's thrown in. But I feel like the more and more you get involved in the communities, the more you're finding like people are saying, this is what I'm drawn towards. Like, check it out. And if it's not for you, cool. But, and so I'm excited there's a lot of some indie books that have been coming out that I was reading right before shutdown, like Join the Future. They only did one issue, and it was one of those issues I crushed. And I was like, I can't wait for the next issue. And then it's like, oh, cool, pandemic. I have green month now for it. And I was like, son of a gun, right? And there's stuff like just a whole bunch of things like that. Just getting to dig deeper into collecting and finding more things and finding more, stories that entice me and intrigue me. And if I didn't get into this, I never would have heard about Little Bird.
That's keyword.
I feel like freaking Pee Wee Herman on the show, like the word of the day.
Every time you say Little Bird, all the furniture just loses its mind.
Oh yes, the chair was my favorite.
So yeah, I mean a hodgepodge. There's any new books that's coming out, I'm excited for. I'm in the nostalgic newbie phase that any comic is good comic. So
nice. I'm gonna take a moment because I talked about it and I forget about it, but this chat, right? I'm actually pretty stoked to see somebody from Facebook watching. Terry, Black Label's amazing. Thanks for that thought.
It is.
It's got some great stuff. It's got some great reads in it. And thanks for watching from Facebook. And there are a ton of people watching and hanging out. And we got Geek Aficionado here. Donnie the Mastodon, thanks for hanging out, man. I'm really interested in doing a part 2 to this publisher discussion and having another panel on. And Donnie's a person I'm interested in talking to on this as well. Backseat Driver's still here. White Whale still here. Downright Nerdy Podcast stopped by. Thanks, man. He's still in here hanging out, listening. God, yeah, the chat. I failed at hitting the chat up. Two Brothers Comics was in hanging out. There's actually it's tough to keep up with the chat when you got so many great friends, and I mean, this is family. There's so many great people coming and hitting us up and saying hi. William Bird, thanks for stopping in, man. If you like more grounded Batman, dig in the back issues by writing. Yeah, there you go.
I'll look into that.
Yeah.
I know. I
feel like I dissed Bruce, and I apologize real quick because he was a DC guy, and then the very next time he had a chance to talk, he was like, "DC sucks again. I'm all." You don't have any intelligible stories. I was like, why did I be nice to Bruce?
Well, if you saw my poll list, it's like 60 DC, 30 Marvel, 10% indie. So still Marvel at heart, or DC at heart.
James, thanks for finding your way, man. Yeah, last week was just kind of a test streaming to my channel. I had some bot issues where some bots were trying to post links to my channel. I was trying to figure that out. It's always going to be here on the Comic Core network. Is it a network? I don't know. Interesting. This is Lost in Comics. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, who beat Lost in Comics?
Bearded.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, man. I'm still focused on my Lost. Dave Maris, thanks for hanging out. Oh, there's a ton of new faces in here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Chaos and Comics. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't touted about his score recently.
Well, because he's not the high score anymore. So
it's already in the chat. You got to go down a little bit more. You're not there yet.
JD Comics, man. Thanks for hanging out.
It's like 18,550.
Although don't forget Chaos. The boy who had 7 also beat your score as well. Just
third. You're third. Third Chaos.
Oh boy. Hey, Two Gun Pedro, man. Thanks for hanging out. Haven't seen you in a while, man. Great to see you. Long Box Diving. Awesome. Great to see you. It's a good friend from Rod's channel. Great to see you hanging out, man. I really appreciate it. The community support's awesome. The continued support makes it a little challenging to keep up with the chat. There's a lot of people hanging out. Thanks again. So moving
chat moderator.
Yeah, actually,
because usually I'm the comment person. Bruce talks and I read the comments, then I stop him. I'm like, oh no, wait, they said this.
Probably could add a couple of moderators here at some point. That means John, your game is slacking. He's too worried about his high score. I mean, so moving forward, Biggie, I know we kind of moved you out of position. Next question goes to you, man. I mean, knowing where you started and where you've landed, so to speak, what really excites you? Is it going to be digging and building that older collection, or is there something on the horizon from new publishers that really has your gears going?
Well, I got like 3 bullet points for this answer, dude. I want to say, first of all, I liked what Bruce was saying about garbage writers and garbage artists doing books, because I see a lot of that too, dude, and I appreciate that opinion from you, big Bruce, brother. And then big bearded comic brother. I kind of feel like you, how you're excited about new books now. See your boy Biggieshaq, brother. I kind of traveled down a lane of trying to figure out where I'm at, getting my bearings. You know what I mean? I was getting my bearings, dude. Now I feel like I kind of figured out a few things, and I'm super excited about Golden Age because I'm like invalid level, brother. Like I'm like kindergarten. Like I'm trying to progress my way up, and it's very fascinating. So it's something for me to learn. You know, I like learning things. I want to have a general basis and knowledge as much as I can, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm. Oh yeah, and my third bullet point. Sorry, I'm excited about Nailbiter's second volume coming out because I did like the first volume.
Nice. Say that again.
Is that Donny Cates, Biggie?
Oh, I don't know who's doing it. My girlfriend told me. I think it was somebody that had something to do with Walking Dead, maybe, or I can't remember. But I think it's basically the same people.
Who's gonna
She
find
didn't
it?
like the way the
Yeah.
cover looked. I think it's coming out in June, like the 5th or something. So I'm gonna get up on it. I have to look into it.
I've heard good things, but I missed that when it first came out, so it wasn't on my polls. And it was one of those ones where, I might look for a set on eBay or another website where I can grab them all in one shot.
I still need number 1, but I got every other one.
Nice. And you know what's fascinating when you talk about Golden Age is when you talk about comic book collecting in general under one umbrella, there's so many different layers to peel back and learn that there's always a new challenge, that when you feel like you've plateaued with your current challenge, you can dive in and into another layer and find bronze, silver, gold. You can find so many other layers to get into. And it's not necessarily about mastering one thing or another, but being cognizant and aware. I mean, for me, when it came to Golden Age, I was watching Golden Guys on Tuesday and watching the Golden Age Guru, and a lot of his stuff was more about, at least, like, I can't master this topic, but at least I want to be knowledgeable enough that I show up at a yard sale or a garage sale or some sort of an auction. I know what to pay, or I know when to pump the brakes, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's pretty killer too, dude.
So many books, Andy, dude. There's so many books, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I dare say at some point here we're approaching the 100-year mark that comic books in general have been around. What, the 30s?
38, 39.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not good with years, but Bruce is.
Well played, man. Well
We
played.
go on Action Comics, like the first comic.
Yeah, I mean, the first comic books in general has got to be somewhere in that late 20s to 30s or something like that. So
yeah, it was before even Action Comics was there. Like, you had a bunch of those floppies before that too.
Sometime after the Great Depression, I think, right? I mean, this is a whole nother show topic and whatnot.
Right.
But I mean, if you think about that, it's 100 years worth of printed material to try to learn and master. Now, there's layers, man. It's like an onion. You got to peel those layers back and enjoy them. And you got any more on that topic before we move forward?
No, that's pretty much it. I was just wanting to say how I appreciate these other two, and I think they got their grasp on things and they're doing a great job. I do think that the best stories, like Stephanie was saying, is the indies, though, for sure. Like, I just got mine back in the day, and I'm over it, but they are super good, bro. Like, my girlfriend loves them. I would stack them up. Like, here's your books, I got mine. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, to finish out question number 3 with Bruce and Stephanie here, same thing for both of you guys, knowing where you started, where you've landed, or where you're at now, moving forward, what excites you guys the most?
You want to go first?
Besides trivia.
Well, definitely new comic books. I actually went through, Marvel just posted their August solicitations, and I just went through the covers. Man, there's some really, really cool looking stuff coming out for them. So I'm really excited for that. That kind of got me pumped into my new comics are coming back. We're going to be doing it. Death Metal's coming out. I can't wait for Death Metal. Joshua Williamson is wrapping up The Flash. Maybe they'll put someone good on it. And funny enough, he actually wrote Nail Biters. So I think he's terrible on The Flash, but obviously he does other good work. But since the pandemic hit and no new comics, I had been going out and trying to buy comics that I've read but have not owned. There was a while I was reading friends' comics and doing anything I could to read comics, but I didn't have the money at the time to purchase the comics. So now I'm going back and trying to purchase all those. But I'm also running into this whole variant cover thing.
Oh, dude.
That's a big, scary world. Same thing with Bearded said. You start I'm not going to online shop. I don't need to do that. That's a poor man's game. And then you go on there and you're like, wait, there's that cover? I've never seen that cover before. What is that? And I've been stupidly buying a lot of Batman variant covers that are just like, gorgeous. I just bought this one, Jorge Jimenez, Batman number 50 with Catwoman. She has Batman all wrapped up. She's getting all sexy on top of him, and it was so good.
It's a family-friendly show, Bruce.
It was, and then like some Matina stuff, and I had a book on my shelf, and it fell off my shelf because it wasn't on the stand right, and then one of the corners hit, and it was like an expensive book, and I was like, oh my God, went out and purchased it again. God damn it.
Yeah, that's a legit thing, man. I've dealt with that with the whole mantra of I can always make more money, but I can't make more time.
Yeah.
That's how I dealt with it. But continue, sorry.
No, it's just like that's where I am. Like I'm really excited for new books, but I'm also like going back. I'm like, there's still all these books I need to buy. And I'm like, oh, there's all these variant covers that I want to buy and put in slabs because they're so pretty. I want artwork. So I don't know. I'm a mixed bag. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I was buying like between $60 and $90 a week in comics for the channel. And I was like reviewing upwards of $20 a week, which I don't think I'll go back to doing. I think I'll try to pare back. It's also I just don't have the time anymore because I had an hour commute to the city, an hour commute back. I don't think I'm going back to work in the city for the rest of the year. So,
wow,
I don't think I'm losing 2 hours of reading time where I had, which I don't have anymore. So,
wow.
What are you excited for, babe?
I mean, I'm, like I said, new, so I get to be excited for everything. You guys have already read everything, and I haven't. And Bruce shoots all his review videos by himself, so I watch them. And then
Bruce,
that sounds interesting. That sounds interesting. I actually have a stack of stuff that I'm like, I'm going to read all of this. So I get to read all fun things, and I am excited about like putting books that I like in slabs. Bruce bought me this really cool Little Bird variant that we found online, and I'm going to put that.
We only made 500 copies of it, so I had to get it.
It's really cool looking, and I'm really excited about that. So I've never gotten like into collecting anything, so this is my first pass at that, and it's exciting. It's exciting to have things that I'm like, oh my God, I want to know what that's doing. Who's that? Who's doing that? And like now I remember who wrote things and who drew things. It's exciting.
Well, it's an amazing dynamic that you bring up that I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on because I started collecting quite a long while ago, and I have a long journey. My wife doesn't, which at first I was a little defensive when my wife was like, "Hey, can you add this to your pull list?" I'm like, "Make your own damn pull list," but it's a different perspective set. It's another set of eyes into something else. And I've discovered that she is quite the Star Wars aficionado. And I love me some Star Wars, but I can only pay attention to so many things at once. So what I've realized is that my wife has become another team member in my battle of keeping up with content. So she'll pick out a lot of the great Star Wars stuff and some of the other indie stuff that I can't keep up with. And she'll set it aside and be like, this is a must read. You've got to get to this and help me prioritize that. Because let's be honest. I mean, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And time is so incredibly valuable. And you prioritize your family and everything first in your work. And then content and hobbies and comic books come third or fourth. So to have that other person backing you up, Stephanie, like you're doing with Bruce, I've realized is incredibly valuable. Mm-hmm. And that's been pretty epic in my opinion. To the point where she's actually picked up on some of the stuff coming out with Mandalorian season 2. And she's like, hey, make sure you add Clone Wars, this next book. You're not going to want to miss that. You're going to read that because there's a potential for there's some crossovers there with the Mandalorian season 2. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want to miss that. So that's all I bought this week was Year Zero. We've went around the horn 3 times and we've got all the questions covered for the most part. So I'll dip into really quick what I'm super excited about. And that's been the Upshot startup with the publisher. Year Zero.
You got lucky and got some of those, huh?
Yeah. I got
good job.
My LCS, I got lucky. My LCS grabbed a couple. There's the one called Resistance I want to find yet and read that. I might have to order that one online, but Year Zero sounds interesting. I know Walking Dead just ended, but I'm kind of interested in a fresh take, a fresh colored take on zombies and whatnot, because we've been reading Walking Dead for so many years in black and white. I'm interested in what kind of art and artists, what they can do with that. And then, like I said, Star Wars. My wife has really got me sucked back into Star Wars. In a lot of the indie stuff. I mean, Something's Killing the Children. I'm big on. Boom Studios is kind of killing it.
Boom is so good.
Boom taps into your nostalgia. Like,
what's that?
Boom taps into your nostalgia. Like Asian Funk, like they got the Turtles and Power Ranger crossover. Like anyone who's buying comics at 35, you had that as your childhood and all the other stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of missed out on the whole Power Rangers thing. That was a little after my time, but when it comes to Turtles and when it comes to wrestling and a lot of the other stuff, man, dude, Boom and IDW and
Vault's really good too.
Yeah, Vault is really good. Aftershock has got some really good stuff. A Walk Through Hell from Aftershock was phenomenal, in my opinion. That could end up being like an HBO show or some other show like that at some point. Dynamite, I'm kind of with you guys, Bruce. With Dynamite is there's some cover buys, like the Shannon Mayer, Red Sonja stuff are pure cover buys in my opinion. When I've seen some of those pop up, oh my god, some of those covers amazing. But Dynamite, as far as reading, they've kind of pigeonholed themselves a little bit to where I don't really read a lot from them. But man, there's so many opportunities and so many good things waiting for us going forward. This topic has been actually so fun. I got to do a part 2 to this topic next week with another panel, because the differing opinions and differing experiences create a lot of thought and a lot of debate.
And we weren't good enough, gang. So he wants to bring it through.
Yeah, I gotta get a whole different panel on this. Scrub and clean.
Hey guys, this was a good
fresh
topic.
ideas.
I gotta get a better panel though, because
This is one of those topics that I'm really interested on hearing what everybody has to say. Because this is really cool to see where people started, where they end up, and what they're excited for. Kind of the just progression on not only their collecting but their reading and whatnot. Because through this whole stay-at-home order, through everything that's been going on for the entire world, we've found we already had it. We didn't realize what we had until now. What we had that ability to communicate. We had that ability to do shows, to do game shows, do trivia, to do other things where for a lot of us, we found ourselves with more free time and more ability to create content and hang out and do what we love. And that's really kind of helped us out through this whole situation. And I digress on that in hopes of, I feel like the world is turning and we're moving forward. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen over the next few months. I hope you guys are too.
absolutely.
We're just over that hour mark, and I hope everybody's tired of hearing me ramble. I missed a couple of comments, but the chat's still here, and we still have 20 plus people watching and hanging out. Two Gun Pedro's still here. Geek Aficionado. Mr. Gretzky, thanks for stopping by, man. Old school friend hanging out on YouTube from over a year ago. And James Galagos, thanks for stopping in tonight. Have a good night, man. I just had to hit that comment to make sure it showed up. Long Box Diving still here. Chaos and Comics, of course, is still here. I can't wait to see more from him. Honestly, he's a fun ride, dude. I mean, he's fun. Scott Evans, old school buddy. Thank you. This is why I count on my friends and count on you guys and everybody in the community. Don't forget to close out that poll for Monday's Modern Men. That's super important. Let's do that really quick. So every week we'll throw up a vote for what the Comic Core's Monday Men or Modern Men is going to read the next Monday, right? And this most recent poll had Thanos by Jeff Lemire, Hitman by Garth Ennis, and Annihilation and Hawkeye from Matt Friction and Shazam by Geoff Johns. And we had 63 votes last time I checked. Let's refresh that really quick. Hey, we got an extra vote, 64. But it looks like Thanos by Jeff Lemire is still in the lead. So I'm going to take the time to say full close.
So is this like golf, lowest score wins? So we get to talk about a DC book and Shazam?
Is it the current run? Because that's garbage.
Do you? I like it, man.
Come on, that story is hot garbage.
I like it. I'm sorry. I think the art's fantastic on it, and I've enjoyed it.
Bruce likes darkness.
No, it's just like the
It's
story.
like Batman.
The story is just weird and out.
There's not enough romance in it for you, Bruce.
No, just like there's no like meaning to it. Like they're just throwing down this thing when there's separate worlds and there's like no character development there. It's the only character development is the dad showed up and it's like, oh, it's so bad, so bad.
So thank you everybody for voting. Longbox voted. Two Gun Pedro voted recently. Thank you very much. Chaos and Comics voted for Hitman. I voted for Hitman originally too, and then like a chump, I switched to Thanos because that's what everybody was doing. And I run with the crowd a lot of times too, just to see what's happening. Hey, Superior Hero Reviews, thanks for coming out and checking out the show tonight. John's Comics with Kids punched some things in and nobody understands it like normal. I just wanted to dig them really quick. Chaos and Comics has some great stuff. Simpleman's Comics, man. Hey, thanks for coming out. I'm rocking the Bolo shirt tonight. The Bolo Club, thanks. Appreciate the shirt. Always love supporting you guys. Always love collaborating with you guys and hanging out. It's great. They actually just put up a new show tonight, which, if I remember correctly, was their top 10 back issues. Check that out. And now that new comic books are coming back, their Friday night cutoff show is coming back, where they sit and have a pint and hang out and talk about what the Final Order cutoff is going to be coming up. Man, Discovery Bay JB, thanks for hanging out, man. Greatly appreciate it. Stopping in, saying hi. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that bolo too. It's all good, Andy. Yeah. I needed a night off. I had to watch a movie with the wife. It was our anniversary, so we had to hang out and we had to do some important things. Being our anniversary. I digress for a moment, but I'm using that word way too much. It was our anniversary, and we hit a mega milestone. So keep an eye out to my channel. We've got a video that's going to come up in the next week or two for a mega milestone for our family and for our anniversary and celebration.
Nice.
We're over that hour mark. Does anybody else have anything they want to say in closing about the topic of publishers and where we're at right now?
No, I just want to know what movie you watched for your anniversary. Or does that spoil your video?
Oh, Blade Runner 2049 or 2049.
Look at that. That would never happen on my anniversary.
Dude, we loved that movie. The first Blade Runner was great. The second one, I was hesitant to because I thought they were going to ruin it. I waited for a few years. We waited for a few years to watch that, and we really enjoyed that for our anniversary. Hey, Two Brothers, thanks, man. I'm not perfect at this by any means, and if any of you know me, I have a great deal of stage fright. So this is one of the reasons why I decided to take on this Thursday night show when the idea came up a couple months ago. I worked through a lot of stage fright. So this chat flying and everybody else talking is like, this is going to get me through this at some point. Ryan, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Let's close this out really quick by talking about the Hero Initiative. And let me find this in a moment. So the Hero Initiative, if you guys are watching and haven't heard, I know you guys on the panel have heard of the Hero Initiative. They work to help support the creators in need, artists, writers that are in need, that create that content that we love, those comic books, the covers, the stories, everything that we love about it. Their sole purpose is to support those creators in need. And let me find what they currently have coming up here in the tab.
Chaos.
And they have a 24-hour comic book coming up. So now what they're going to do is they've got a date that they have in mind, and they're going to announce it here soon, hopefully. They're going to take 24-hour period, and they're going to take writers and artists in 1-hour blocks and create a comic book from start to finish in a 24-hour period with a collaboration of writers and artists. And I'm really looking forward to that. And here's a quick blurb on that, and I'll share that with you guys here now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christian Gossett, speaking to you today on behalf of the Hero Initiative, where myself, Jim McLaughlin, Joseph Michael Linsner, and a cavalcade of yet-to-be-announced comic book stars are putting together something really, really awesome that's never been attempted. We're really looking forward to telling you guys more about it, so please stay tuned. As always, everything we do will benefit the great cause that is the Hero Initiative.
So I hadn't heard of the Heroes Initiative until about a year and a half ago. And this is probably one of the most amazing causes in our community as far as supporting these creators, the writers and artists. And for them to be able to take on this challenge of doing a comic book in 24 hours sounds mind-blowing, in my opinion. So yeah, I want to look to hear more. And I've missed it, but not quite. Chaos of Comics, $2. He's gonna win. Oh, you know.
Yeah, also Sabrina the Witch question, so you're not gonna win. I'm gonna
That's
come up with 20 different questions about Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and that's it.
So that's $2 to go to the Hero Initiative. Thank you so much. They greatly appreciate that. That helps them out. Man, I don't know. So we went 20 questions on the trivia Tuesday night. Are you guys going 25 or 30 for the next round?
Everyone, we talked to a bunch of people backstage. We're going to stick with 20. Might go to 25 for the championship.
Ooh, okay.
5
Very
questions,
cool.
only Little Bird, like lightning round.
Oh, yep, Little Bird. So Daymers brings up a great point. Hero Initiative has some awesome prints and stuff for sale on their website. If you go to their website, heroinitiative.org, link is in the description. Please check that out and go to their shop. You'll find the live panels and stuff that they're doing. I had the honor of hosting a live panel for John McCrae, who is an artist that works heavily with Garth Ennis and has done some Punisher stuff. So I got to sit back and play host to a number of people that donated to be there, and got to ask questions about his experiences, and that was great. And just by being there and spending some time there, I got to ask a question too, and that was amazing. So I mean, that's a very unique opportunity. Brian Michael Bendis was on there. There's so much stuff on there. I think it was Chip Zdarsky at one point was like $69. If that's not a joke, he's playing a joke right there. $69 to be a part of Chip Zdarsky's panel. That was really cool at one point. Hopefully we see that again. That was a lot of fun. Chaos and Comics again with the $2 super chat, and Two Brothers hit him up first right there. $2 there. $2. Andy for president. No. Ooh. No, not unless it's the president of like a beer company, maybe. I might be. We're well over that hour mark. And I can lose my train of thought pretty quickly. But I'm really interested to hear about now after we've talked. Is I want to hear the idea behind this show is to get different people together with different opinions and different ideas. And share those differing ideas and opinions. But let's share with the people watching on now here and on the replay where everybody can find you and what you have going on with your own YouTube channels, because everybody here has a YouTube channel and an IG, Twitter, and a lot of other social media aspects. So Bearded, man, where can people find you and what do you have coming up, man?
So, I mean, literally Bearded Comic Bro. You can find me YouTube. That's because I have now over 100 subscribers. So boom, I can have it on the YouTube channel there as Bearded Comic Bro. Instagram's Bearded Comic Bro. Twitter's Bearded Comic Bro. Find me, chat. So Instagram right now, we just launched. We're trying to do a quarantine cover challenge. So I just did that, and we're posting what are your favorite comics that you can relate to. Like, you can take old comics or new comics and say, how does that connect to a quarantine? And I know John's Comics with Kids threw up some, and TK Batcave and all that. So just some fun stuff on my Instagram that we're doing with that. I'm about to drop a video tomorrow with Mrs. Bearded Comic Bro. We're going to do the how well does your significant other know comic book characters. So this will be the first appearance. So that should be dropping tomorrow. And then in a couple, I'm doing an interview tomorrow night for a Kickstarter with a comic creator that we're going to then drop in about a week or two for their campaign. So I'm pretty excited about that interview. So make sure you guys subscribe so you can follow along on all the fun shenanigans that I'm doing. So, and Little Bird.
Actually out.
Dude, yeah. I'm really excited to see your channel grow. So you got some great content and you've got a lot of great knowledge. You can put a great video together, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
That's case in point right there. You put a great video together. The community will support you, man. You got great content. It's enjoyed by a lot of people and it's going to continue to grow. The fact that you don't have 500 or 600 subs right now is kind of mind blowing because people right now, the community is so supportive that even new individuals and get lifted up and get propelled into the community so well.
I mean, and the community has I've maybe put a video out once a month, like starting back in February. But once quarantine hit, I started putting a little bit more out. And I mean, man, you guys have everyone in the chat has been great. Bruce and Stephanie on the panel, Biggie, all you guys have. So like, I'm not worried. I just love talking comics. So I don't care if I have 100 people listening or 2 people or 1,000. I don't care. I'm talking comics and having fun.
That's the love, man. I mean, that's why I'm here every Thursday night. It's my opportunity to just talk comic books. More importantly, what that does is through comic books, I get to talk to people I don't know and make friends and family members because I live in a comic oasis. I live in a portion where there's a couple of mega whale buyers that buy up collections and sit on them. And besides my LCS and getting new books, I don't really get to hunt. I don't really get to talk to people. If I had it my way, and if I had all the money in the world, I'd build a coffee shop like what Bueller talks about a lot of times. Coffee shop, sit in a coffee shop based on comic books and coffee. That would be amazing because this is what my passion is now, is talking comic books on YouTube with friends and honestly family members here. This is good stuff. I greatly appreciate it. Bruce and Stephanie, I mean, hopefully everybody knows where to find you at this point now, because that trivia, that quarantine trivia is dynamite. That's a ton of fun. You've got 2 more rounds coming up. Fill us in, please.
So yeah, we are the Bruce Moreau channel. We started it before Stephanie was really into the picture. That's why it's Bruce Moreau and not Bruce and Stephanie. But you can find us on YouTube, Bruce Moreau, on Instagram, Bruce and Stephanie, and on Twitter at Bruce's Comics. We're doing a big comic quarantine madness trivia tournament right now. We just finished up the Elite 8 on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to be doing the Final 4 on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Come a little early at 9:45 if you just want to have a little fun, get a little intro to the big show.
Bruce has really great deep voice introductions.
We have a lot of fun on the trivia thing. Beyond that, we have some stuff. We do have a couple ideas about how each other knows each other's likes. Like, she likes things that I don't like, and she's going to trigger me on that, and the same thing. But there's
nothing to do with comic books, guys. It's all sappy, like teen heartthrob novels.
Oh, perfect.
But it's Bruce and Stephanie style, so it's not the normal like, oh, it's asking questions. No, there's a twist. So
well, that's what we love about you guys, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we're just making content. We'll be getting back to some of the basic stuff like, reviews and, pull lists and that kind of jazz. But we're going to try to always keep Stephanie much more involved. And also Comics and Beer, 10 p.m. Eastern, Friday nights, comic, trivia, giveaways. What do you want? Oprah of the comic book community. What?
I just get drunk and I give everybody everything.
If you guys haven't tuned in, not to cut you guys off, but holy buckets, Stephanie just gives away prizes. If you wait till the 11 o'clock hour, the amount of beer she drinks, she's just like,
Everybody gets something. What do you want? A t-shirt? You want a Funko Pop? Let's go. You want it?
So about the time you guys started that Friday night show, my work schedule switched to nights and weekends, and every Friday night I'm working till 9 or 10 o'clock, and I struggle with missing your show every week because I live for comics and beer.
They're the two greatest things, and now that I don't drink beer only on Fridays, it's the greatest day of my week.
So this Friday is going to be epic.
I refuse to let any of the children pick any of the beers this week. It's all beers I'm excited to drink. I got one extra, so it's 6 instead of 5. We're going home.
Nice. Oh,
I mean, I've given away a bunch of Resonant shirts. I do want to support David Andrew as much as possible, so I'll keep giving away David Andrew shirts.
Oh, that's Resonant. Okay.
Yeah, Resonant.
Ooh, nice.
We did do 2 weeks ago. I gave away a bunch of the child Baby Yoda Funko Pops in my drunken stage.
I'm telling you, Andy, work and wait, bro.
You see that up there? That's a handmade crocheted Baby Yoda from the wife.
Oh,
I love
nice.
Baby Yoda. And I pre-ordered a Baby Yoda doll that talks and moves and stuff, but they pushed back my release date, and now it's not coming until.
You're not the only one to say that. Cat Ren Figures from the Comic Core had the same thing happen to her. She placed an order and it kept getting pushed back. Yes. And then she found it on the shelf somewhere and bought it.
Really?
Before her order got filled. Yeah.
They're not letting us into any stores in New York, especially Long Island. So
ooh, okay.
We can't go anywhere. We're just stuck in our house like we have been for 2 months now.
I get that. Anything else?
No. That's pretty much us. Comics and Beer, trivia tournament. Stephanie's the bomb. Oprah, comic books. We respect Bearded. We respect Biggie so much. Same with Asian Funk. You guys are great. Appreciate you, Andy, for having us on. And yeah, we love you guys. So
okay. Now I've saved the best for last because I gotta be honest. Biggieshaq's been banging and clanging for so long now. There goes Bearded Comic Book, bro. I gotta pay homage to Biggieshaq here.
Respect is given.
Yeah. With the banging and clanging, dude, Biggieshaq, man. I love seeing you on, brother. It's great having you. I'm honored that you had the time available to hang out with us tonight, dude. That belt, banging and clanging, man. Where can people find you, and where can people find what you have going on, brother?
Well, man, I'm pretty much a wanderer, a traveler of channels. Like if you call the name Biggieshaq, brother, I'll be there, man. So you could catch me on the Immortal Biggieshaq is my channel, dude, where I do most of my grinding and clanging and banging, dude. But you could also catch me on my boy Comic Head 84 Friday nights 9 o'clock Mega Power Hour. You know what I'm saying, weekly episodical. But I'd like to say thank you to everybody. I don't know if I'm the best. I'm okay, dude, but I've been around a while. I'm at around 685. I feel like I should have like 10,000 by now, but what can you do, dude? So I want to get to 1,000. I'm trying. We'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty happy where I am. I got my NWO homies, the best friends in the comic book community for me, dude. I really love everybody out there. I got love for anybody that reads comics, and I appreciate you, ComicManAndy. I appreciate you drinking beer. I appreciate Bearded Comic, bro. I appreciate you're from Ohio. And Bruce, dude, you got a lot of ways to go, bro. You're gonna be top notch. You'll be passing me up before you know, because you got a good little plan going. You got good strategy, and you're smart.
Thanks.
So, and your girl, she helps you out. that always comes in successfully. I think a lot of people, and Chaos, I'm on your side, dude. I think you're going to win.
No, fuck that. Chaos is gonna.
Wow, Biggie, you gonna dog me like that?
Great.
No, I got to get back.
Hey, I'm always down. I'm with the underdog, dude. All y'all was clowning them, dude. It made me want to like them more. I'm not like Comic Man Andy. I don't go with the winners. I go with the losers, dude. I'm with the losers.
I'm a sucker for that sometimes too. I mean, because that's one thing that's great about the Modern Men that I love. I love being a part of Seawood's show and the Modern Men, because every week there's always something that I've never read before, and it's just so expanding. It's so great to be able to catch up on all the stuff that I didn't see as being great when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And Modern Men, 89, 90, 91, modern era on. There's so much great reading in there that Seawood's been able to bring that out and bring me into that. I'm greatly appreciative of that. Biggieshaq, I digress, man. Do you have more for us before we close out?
No, I think I'm good, man. Thank you for the invite. Anytime you need me, dude, just holler at your boy. I'll be there with all the guns blazing, brother. So I appreciate y'all having me on the show. I felt like we touched on some good topics, you know what I'm saying? Interesting stuff. And your boy, he ain't going to just give you some flam answers, dude. Those are some real legit answers you could listen to from your boy or anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It comes in all different flavors. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate everybody's time. Like I've said many times before, we can always make more money. We can't make more time. So the time we spend together is that much more important, in my opinion, than what we tend to give credit as human beings and as people. Because this is it. This is what we have, time. Without getting super crazy sentimental and all that other stuff. Yeah, I appreciate it. This has been an intense and amazing show. And it's been a very passionate show, and it's been a ton of fun. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys can find me every Monday night on the Modern Men. You can find me here every Thursday night on Andy Given Thursdays. I have my own channel, but it's there from some unboxing and some practicing for content creation and whatnot. If you're not subbed up to me, please do. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd like to continue helping building the community. And for anybody watching right now or watching on the replay that's interested in being a part of a topic coming up on this show, please hit me up. It's great to meet new community members and talk about other topics. I'm pretty set on doing a part 2 of what other people have to say about the publishers, because the publishers have some fighting to do over the next few months. DC's moved to releasing on Tuesdays on their own. They're not doing the whole Diamond distributing thing anymore. So there's some either changes coming up that might hold true, and they might not. Maybe we fall back into old practices, but I feel like publishers have some arm wrestling to do to win people over. So that's the show. We've done the closing comments. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to make everybody watching jealous, and I'm going to keep talking these guys' ears off backstage. So thanks again. You guys don't leave just yet. I appreciate it. Everybody else, have a great night, and I see you next Thursday and see you next Monday for Modern Men. Don't forget Golden Guys on Tuesdays and the Wednesday, which is the greatest comic book show ever, and the Friday Roundtable, actually. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night. See you again. I'm going to go peace out. We'll go pinkies out. I'm going to catch everybody on the flip side.